And now I'm pleased to introduce the presenter of the 2020 University Commencement Address. An award-winning broadcast journalist, an anchor of the NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt and Dateline NBC, Lester Holt has been bringing viewers breaking news of events across the globe through fair and in-depth reporting. When disaster strikes, he is there to provide stories of the people affected. Lester Holt has shone a spotlight on America's criminal justice system, brought attention to the connections between childhood asthma and poverty, and moderated presidential debates. Most recently, he has been covering the global COVID-19 pandemic, stating that it is now the biggest story he has ever covered, a story that he too is part of as he delivers the news from his home studio. Rutgers is proud to be awarding him an honorary doctorate of humane letters. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lester Holt will now address the class of 2020.
President Barchi, thank you for the honorary degree. I'm proud to be forever now connected to this great institution. As a resident of the metropolitan area, I consider Rutgers a prestigious neighbor, and I take immense pride to be able to celebrate this important occasion with all of you. And I certainly admire the lengths you have gone to adapt and make sure this celebration went forward, albeit in this virtual form. To the faculty and families of the class of 2020, I say jobs well done. Moms, dads, caregivers, though I can't see your faces, I have been where you are twice celebrating this rite of passage for my own children. I know and I get that mix of giddiness you're feeling along with the nervousness of thinking, what now? And wondering, will they still be our little kids? I can tell you with fair certainty they will be. You'll continue to play important roles in their lives, even as they chart their own course in life. Your wisdom and love and guidance don't expire on this day. In fact, in many ways, they are renewed. To the class of 2020, congratulations, both for this academic milestone and for showing all of us that all that social networking you guys have been doing, obsessed with, it pays off in the end. I mean, where would we be right now without Zoom? This, of course, isn't how I envisioned this moment when I first accepted the invitation to speak many months ago. I'm guessing you feel the same. Of course, every night on the news, I speak to an audience that I can't really see. I'm told they're there. But the difference between that and this is when I'm on the news, I don't expect people to interrupt my remarks with applause. Could be happening, but I don't expect it. But a speech, on the other hand, normally allows for at least polite applause, occasionally sustained enough to clear your throat or take a sip of water. So if you see me pause in these remarks, just assume that in my head, I'm hearing clapping from somewhere, from you. As I began writing this speech a few weeks ago, I began to think that, I'd rather be hearing you speak, the graduates, not listening to myself. For it is you, the graduates, who I think have a much better story to tell right now. I certainly have a history and access, a set of experiences worth sharing, but nothing like you guys. I mean, come on, you're graduating in the middle of a global pandemic. The full story of our lifetimes, this pandemic and its ripple effect of calamities, won't be told by me or my generation. While we are all living it right now, it's you who will someday be best positioned to tell its complete story and history, how you lived through it, how it ended, and what society did or did not learn from it. It is one or perhaps many of you who will stand as a featured commencement speaker 30, 40 years from now, hopefully before a live audience, to tell the story of the pandemic of 2020 and its takeaways, how it took people you loved, how it took from you the time-honored touchstones of college life, no less than your cherished senior year, how it tossed you into a shattered job market, and how it challenged an implied belief that, frankly, many of us grew up with, that we as Americans were somehow immune from the worst of life's horrors, that they happened over there, not here, to them, not us. Up until now, you were destined to be the generation launched into a booming economy filled with opportunity and promise. Today, you stand as a generation that, as it appears right now, will be defined by adversity in much the same way generations were defined by the Great Depression, and World War II. Though frankly, I'm not sure if there is truly a fitting comparison. You were born into a world of instant gratification, a world in which, 2.5 months ago, virtually everything was a click or a swipe away. Now you celebrate scoring toilet paper or a canister of Lysol wipes on Amazon. Today, we are all looking at this moment in time from the inside, but only when it's told inside out will we have a true understanding of what we lost, how we found ourselves so vulnerable, so unprepared, and how we recovered. It's going to be an amazing story, but as a journalist, I have to ask the broader questions too. Will we find our way back to a place where realities and things like facts, no matter how inconvenient, are dealt with as vital and universally accepted challenges, not ridiculed as the fantasy of Chicken Little? What will those members of the class of 2020 tell us in the commencement speeches of 2040, 2050 about how American values changed in the age of coronavirus? Did we become less partisan? Did we pay greater attention to scientists and science? Oh, and please make sure you put in that part about global warming. It will be great to hear how that whole thing worked out. But for this moment, it is left to journalists to tell the story in real time, not only the obvious public health and economic impacts, but how it is laid bare who we are and what we value. I'm going to admit to you, this has been a hard story to maintain the kind of objectivity I usually bring to the table. And that is because there's no stepping back from this story. There's no flurry of live reports and interviews from the scene and then rushing back to the airport and flying back to New York and fleeing the war zone or disaster zone. We're all living this, no matter where we go or who we are. My health, my family, your health, your family are all linked. Our very lives can now be an exercise in altruism. I anchor the news from my home to protect me and to protect those who might otherwise come in contact with me in the workplace. For the same reasons, we are all apart on this special day. Yet even now, there are portions of the country testing the limits of that codependency and the virus itself. Our appetite for sacrifice and selflessness is part of the story you will write. And by then, you will tell us the sum of that equation: life, freedom. Which is greater than? Which is lesser than? Our tools of journalism have changed or been readapted during these times. We trade satellite links for Zoom and travel for the virtual travel afforded by Skype and FaceTime. We have you, by the way, as role models on that front. As reporters, we can't talk to people face-to-face in the ways we are used to, but we are still connecting, as are you, I suspect in ways that we can only imagine today, but ways in which many of you will eventually lead. And as journalists, we do our jobs leaning into the facts, not fear. Knowledge is the key to how all of us will confront and conquer the obstacles before us and rise above and learn from this moment of despair and disappointment. So where does this all leave you? Well, you can be defined by the times, or you can be defined by how you lived the times. It sounds a bit trite, doesn't it? But those are your choices. I think it's fair to say that years from now, folks will be hard-pressed to top the stories you will share with your kids and grandkids about the great pandemic of 2020. Let's just say the whole "I walked 12 miles a day in the snow to go to school" story will finally be retired. I grew up in an America torn apart by war abroad, riots and racial strife at home, the assassinations of President Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, and Martin Luther King Jr., the Vietnam War, in which my father served and that claimed nearly 60,000 Americans. I know, fewer than COVID-19. It was a time punctuated by political scandal, an era of perpetual unrest that robbed the country of much of its innocence, or maybe its naivete. But like now, moments in which a generation defined itself. I was more or less on the tail end of that generation, but the period imbued us with a wariness towards authority, a desire to speak truth to power. From the Watergate scandal that toppled the Nixon presidency was born a renewed embrace of investigative journalism that inspired young people such as myself. A young generation disillusioned by what it saw around it taught the country how to ask its leaders why. I know Vietnam, Watergate, the assassinations, those were all the work of men, not nature, right? And much of that change certainly generated its own turbulence at the time. What you are living now is different. Think of the ways you can make your mark. Listen, people will go back to work. You will be part of a grand shift in how we work, how we interact. Many of you will play roles in how we physically remap and reimagine the places we do business. There will be no time to mourn the way it used to be. Your focus will be far outside the box as you establish the new order of commerce and entertainment and consumer dealings. Others of you on tracks for medicine, healthcare, and public policy will similarly bring a fresh and forward-looking perspective on how we live, what we need, and what we may need. You will peer around corners to see tomorrow's potential calamities, wherever they may come from, because you are equipped with the clear-eyed lenses this pandemic has provided us, and you will stand prepared to confront those oncoming threats. But to get there, the generation you represent will need to break the flawed molds of the past and present that continually impede our ability to collaborate for good or even against common threats like coronavirus. How long did "we're all in this together" last before the same old grievances of culture and privilege and perceived motives surfaced? The purity tests of patriotism, the disdain for science, the allegations of political opportunism, all while we faced an incoming bullet that wasn't red, it wasn't blue, or even aligned with an ideology of its own. And please don't waste time trying to figure out who I'm referring to or try to analyze my political leanings. As journalists, our job has always been to hold those in power accountable. At the very core of their responsibility as leaders is the requirement to protect us and our ways of life. My family, your family, we must demand they advocate for us in all things, that they get it right. We push for answers and the truth because it's our calling and our responsibility. But more than ever, it is also all of our callings. We must be willing to arm ourselves with facts and reasonableness, the foundations to see the world as it is, not how we may want it to be. But that's the immediate challenge of today, stopping the spread of this virus. Your challenge, class of 2020, is to help bring us back. Even as you rush into the headwinds of a damaged economy, you will inherit the challenge of restoring the vitality that has long defined our economy and making it work in a world where we no longer live with blinders on. We've now seen it. You've seen it. The worst can happen, even to us. Let that fact alone guide you and strengthen your character. Use your gifts and lessons of analysis that you've developed these last 4 years to face adversity and threats head on. Be critical thinkers. Don't be waylaid by red herrings and veiled agendas, nor be cowed by them. Big challenges will come, maybe bigger than this one, maybe in your lifetimes. You can approach them guided by the same self-defeating traps that have tripped us up all this far, or as a generation uniquely forged by this global catastrophe, you can rise above and commit to do better. I want you to know it pains us, me, your families, your Rutgers faculty and administrators, that we are not able to celebrate your graduation in the way we had hoped. This is not what any of us imagined for you. Stepping out into the world as it is now is not going to be easy. But know that you, built on the love of your families and the foundation of excellence that Rutgers has afforded you, can be a pillar upon which this country will recover, and it will. You don't have to be defined as a generation of coronavirus. Instead, be defined as the generation that helped remold the misshaped clay of this disaster into a better America. Let this moment confer your generation immunity from crippling fear, and know the mantra can still stand for something. We are in this together. Thank you, and Godspeed, class of 2020.
Thank you, Mr. Holt, for those words of wisdom for our graduates.